The Cambrian Period, The History and Legacy of the Start of Complex Life on Earth by Charles River Editors, narrated by Colin Fluxman. Introduction. The early history of Earth covers such vast stretches of time that years, centuries, and even millennia become virtually meaningless. Instead, paleontologists and scientists who study geochronology divide time into periods and eras. The current view of science is that Earth is around 4.6 billion years old, and the first 4 billion years of its development are known as the pre-Cambrian period. For the first billion years or so, there was no life on Earth. Then the first single-celled life forms, early bacteria and algae, began to emerge. It's unclear where they came from, or even if they originated on this planet at all, but this gradual development continued until around 4 billion years ago, when suddenly, in geological terms, more complex forms of life began to emerge. Scientists call this time of an explosion of new forms of life the Paleozoic era, and it stretched from around 451 to 250 million years ago, or Maya. In the oceans and then on land, new creatures and plants began to appear in bewildering variety, and by the end of this period, life on Earth had diversified into a myriad of complex forms that filled virtually every habitat and niche available in the seas and on the planet's only continent, Pangaea. Despite all of the scientific advances made in the past few centuries, including an enhanced understanding of Earth's geological past, very little is known about the planet's early history. It is generally accepted that the planet formed somewhere in the region of 4.5 billion years ago, and at some point the first life appeared in the form of tiny, single-celled creatures, but scientists are unsure of what this life looked like. One of the problems for those seeking to trace the history of life on Earth is that modern scholars are almost entirely dependent on fossil records. But the earliest types of life left few fossils. The best fossils are formed from the bones and hard body parts of dead creatures, but the earliest types of life were so small that they had no bones or cartilage, and thus left no fossils. Thus, even though the pre-Cambrian period, 4,600 to 541 million years ago, covers over 80% of the entire history of the planet, scientists have very little idea of what forms of life existed then. The pre-Cambrian period is divided into 3 eons. The Hadean, 4,000...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?